All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. My name is Sanasa Kava, and I get to serve as a community engagement specialist at the New York City Emergency Management. Before I introduce our guest, I just want to go over a few items. So we'll be providing all the resources and links covered in today's webinar, as well as this is currently recording. We'll also provide the recording after the presentation. And we also want to make sure you have access to the closed captioning. So there is an icon on the bottom. Uh, it has a CC and it says live transcript. So all you have to do is simply click to the left of your mouse and it will turn it on. And all participants are currently muted. And if I can directly to the bottom of the screen, you are encouraged to use the chat box and as well as the question and answer sections for any questions you might have throughout this presentation. So join with me today. We have Alex Poku from the American Red Cross of Greater New York, who will be facilitating most of this presentation. So we are going to jump right in. So this presentation is about how can you get your organization, business, or school prepared for different kind of emergencies. And today specifically, the presentation is called Ready Rating from the American Red Cross. And before I pass it to Alex, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what the New York City Emergency does and who we are. So the New York City Emergency Management help New Yorkers before, during, and after emergencies, and we do this through preparedness, education, and response. So for example, when the coastal storms happen, we are responsible for coordinating citywide emergency planning and response. And this can be any type of emergency and any scale. So we are staffed by more than 200 dedicated professionals with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise, including individuals assigned from other agencies like the fire department or the NYPD. So specifically, the team hosting this webinar today is the Community Preparedness team, which I'm part of, and we get to work with local organizations, local faith-based organizations, as well as local congregations to help build capacity to prepare for, respond to, and recover from emergencies. We do this in a different type of ways, right? We have training classes, we have preparedness events, we share preparedness information and training through our weekly newsletter. And we also have preparedness resources for people with disabilities, access, and functional needs. We also have a program called Strengthening Communities. So we get to lead and reach out to local faith-based organizations or congregations and establish community networks to our EOC, which is our Emergency Operations Center during a disaster. So you might be wondering, oh, we are in the month of September. So September is National Preparedness Month. So this month is to raise awareness about the importance of being prepared for emergencies or disasters that could happen anywhere and anytime. So this year's theme is a lasting legacy. So planning for disasters will make sure that you and your family are safe. And this is the best way to protect your legacy if you and your family are planning and being prepared for emergencies and protect the life you have built. So usually in the month of September, we host in-person and virtual presentation events throughout this month, and we reach out to our communities, our businesses, our schools, just to get them prepared for emergencies, right? So you might be asking, what is the first step of being prepared? You don't have to be prepared, or you don't have to do everything at once. You can split it up. Since this is September, we have 4 weeks in September. You could say, for example, week 1, I am going to create a communication plan. I'm going to take time with my family to talk to friends. How do I talk to friends during an emergency? So your most of the time during an emergency, your normal way of communicating may be affected by different changes in the environment, noise or service disruptions. Let's say if there is a coastal storm, there's power disruption. How do you communicate with your family in here in New York City or outside of New York City? And week two can be maybe, do I live in a hurricane evacuation zone? Do I know my zone? So this is something you can find out by going to know your zone to figure out if you live in a hurricane evacuation zone in case you need to evacuate. And so on, maybe week three, create a go back. Do I have my emergency items in a go bag for every single person in my household, including my pets? So that's a question you should ask yourself. And so on, so we also have maybe being informed. If you have a power disruption, how do you stay informed? How do you know what's happening? So we have Notify NYC. This is the city's official source of information, and you can get free emergency alerts as well, and so on. So you decide what do you want to do every week just to be prepared for emergencies. And with that, I am going to pass it to Alex, who is going to talk about Ready Rating and how you can get your organization ready for emergencies. Alex?
All right. Thank you very much, Sanasa. And yes, I'm Alex Boku. I am a volunteer with the American Red Cross, and I've been volunteering for about almost 8 years now. And I find it very rewarding as well. So yes, we are going to talk about Ready Rating. Ready Rating, as Sanasa mentioned, since this is Emergency Preparedness Month for all September, this is nationally. What we want to do is we want to bring your attention not just to your families and how prepared you are with your family. But for most of you, I'm assuming that you are joining us because you own a business or you're involved in a business and you want to also create that same theme of a lasting legacy for your business. So with that, we want to be able to make sure that everybody who does own a business isn't kind of caught in a situation where they don't know what to do. So that's exactly what Ready Rating addresses. We want to address the fact that most of the employees will think, well, if there's an emergency and I'm at work, all the attention is going to be on me, right? They're going to do everything to make sure that me as an individual, I get out safely. Most people are not thinking about other people within that organization and how other people may come ahead of them. They're usually not even thinking about whether or not you're going to be bottleneck down the flight of staircase to get down to the bottom of the lowest floor. So it's very important that as a business owner, you understand some of the things that you can do to come up with an emergency action plan. And then also track your progress as to how you're doing and how you compare yourself to other people who may be in a similar situation. So Ready Rating is free, right? It's online. It's based on your own pace. So you go online, you take an assessment test, you find out where you are, and then based on the results that you get from it, you can choose the path they're going to go. So basically, if you go down the points, Ready Rating, we have two ways of being able to assess your needs, right? There's ReadyGo. ReadyGo is just a short 25-question assessment. Here's a fast evaluation. Now, this focuses on, let's say, somebody who is starting out, wants to take it easy. You answer the 25 questions. If you met most of those things, it's kind of great. You get your assessment report and then you fill in the blanks. ReadyAdvance, maybe you have a bigger company, maybe you have more of an interest in this stuff, right? It's a more comprehensive 60-question assessment. And with that, you get a deeper look into your organization's response and planning. So if it's those who want to make sure that they achieve the highest level, ReadyAdvance is probably a great place for you to start. And then based on the scores that you get, you're going to get a scores based on, like, let's say between 1 to 100. We're going to measure your current level of preparedness. With that, you're going to get the next steps report. With your next steps report, you will be able to determine which direction you need to go. And most importantly, if there are any holes that you need to fill. So as you can see on the screen right now, there is basically an example of some of the questions during your assessment, right? So we have an emergency response planning committee. Do you have one? Yes or no, right? So you basically, very simple yes or no questions. And then with that, you basically get an assessment. So after you answer these questions, the next slide is going to show you basically what your next steps will be. So you get a ready rating report like this, right? So the next steps report is just basically follow what this plan asks you. And like I said, this is all going to be done at your own pace. You get to take the assessment whenever you want. You get to do your next steps report whenever you feel you're ready and you can move forward. And just by simply answering a few questions. Now, as you can see in there, it says resources in the middle of the page, right? So there are resources that are always going to be available to you at your fingertips, so you can just basically point and click and be able to get more information as to what direction you want to go. So ready rating, as I mentioned, is a move at your own pace structure. Right. So you get the reports and you decide whether or not you want to go forward and which direction and how fast you want to do it. And it's a great tool to use right there. All right. So once you get your assessment and you're going through the process, you're also going to have a team behind you, right? So the next steps report recommends specific tools for you to use, right, to help improve your score. So whatever you're doing, all you're going to basically rely on is what the resource center projects for you to do. With that, you're going to be able to quickly move forward as to what direction you're going to go. So with that, 70 actionable resources are available to you, including videos on specific topics, right? An emergency action plan template, all the way to other reports, checklists, sample forms, all different types of things so that you can move at your own pace. The resource center is available to you at all times. As I mentioned, this is a move at your own pace work ethic. So with this, you will be able to determine if you're kind of moving too fast and also bring your employees up to date. And as you can see on the very bottom, it says the rating helps your organization meet and exceed the minimum requirements for emergency action plans, which is set by OSHA. Now, we all know that it's very important to kind of meet OSHA standards. Sometimes it's a struggle, but it's very important that we at least make some attempts to meet those. So by having a ready rating action plan, you are able to determine how you're going to meet those goals and if there's going to be anything that you're going to be lacking. But we definitely want to help you achieve anything that is going to make your employees feel more comfortable, make you feel more comfortable with regards to making sure your employees know that you have their back in case of any emergencies, right? So that's basically it with regards to ready rating. It's very simple. It's at your own pace, right? It's not anything that is going to be kind of a headache, stay up late, worrying about whether or not you've completed anything. Once you join, you register, it takes about a minute. You're able to measure your own progress and where you are current and where you would like to be with some simple assessment. Remember, there are two versions, ReadyGo and ReadyAdvance. Right? And then you want to obviously start improving your next step skills. Use what you've learned from Ready Rating to improve your ability to make your employees feel more safe. And of course, protect your organization, your staff, your clients. And then we want you to remember that if you're safe, your community is safer, and you can start building on that lasting legacy that is this month's call to action. Right? At this point, we hope that you have some questions for us. That pretty much covers Ready Rating. As you can see, it is very simple. Like I said, 1 minute registration gets you rolled and started. All right.
All right, and that was a lot of information. While we wait for questions, I am going to try to share a quick video so that you can see, so that everything, maybe if you watch the video, everything will just combine together and you'll be able to understand. And as Alex mentioned, it's very simple. It takes you 1 minute to register. There are two options that you go through depending on your level of preparedness. And After that, you get your next report and so on. So while we wait for questions, again, you have the options to use the chat box or the Q&A. Um, yes, and I am going to share this my screen again to share the video while we wait for questions. All right. And please, Alex, can you let me know if you can see my screen, the video screen? Good. Awesome. All right.
Hello, and thank you for your interest in the Ready Rating program. This video will take you on a short tour of the Ready Rating website. Along the way, we will show you how your organization can become a better member. One way is to take one of the two preparedness assessments. Another, access our emergency action plan tool. And thirdly, take advantage of the other resources and benefits to which Ready Rating members are entitled. Let's begin by becoming a program member. Since its beginning, thousands of organizations of all types, including businesses, schools, and organizations of all kinds, have joined the program and received valuable feedback on their level of preparedness. Many of these organizations have taken advantage of the emergency planning tools available to members, and thousands of people have reviewed the information contained in the Resource Center. Members also receive a 10% discount at the Red Cross store and the ability to use the Ready Rating member seal to display and let others know about your organization's commitment to preparedness. From the homepage, there are two ways we can begin the membership process. You can simply move over to the Join tab on the toolbar and click through the sign-up page, or you can click through the repeating set of images flashing across your screen. These images contain 3 questions that are designed to put the important role of emergency preparedness in a very practical context. Click on any of these images and answer the questions, which will automatically appear. Having completed the mini assessment, you will be directed to the membership page where you can provide your member information and accept the Ready Rating membership agreement. Once you have signed your organization up as a Ready Rating member, your organization will have full access to all parts of the program, including the Ready Rating Assessment Center. Organized into 5 sections, either of these assessments will give you objective feedback on the strengths and weaknesses of your current emergency plan. The shorter of the two, titled ReadyGo, is designed for organizations that are new to emergency planning. It consists of 25 questions that will help you evaluate some of the strengths and weaknesses of your current program. Many people complete this assessment in 15 to 30 minutes. The large assessment consists of 60 questions, takes most people 45 minutes to an hour to complete, and is targeted at organizations that have been involved in emergency planning for a longer period and, as such, have programs that are a bit more sophisticated. Both of these assessments were developed with the assistance of the Red Cross's Scientific Advisory Council and represent an amalgamation of standards and best practices. Ticking either one of the assessments entitles you to a next step report that will highlight some best practices as they relate to each area of the 5 areas of the assessment. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, commonly referred to as OSHA, has mandated that every non-government organization should have an Emergency Action Plan, or EAP, that covers at least 6 key topics. In fact, if there are more than 10 people in your organization, you are required to have a written EAP. Ready Rating members have access to 2 customizable templates that meet and exceed the minimum OSHA requirements and are both fully customizable to fit your organization. You can learn more about these plans by going to the Resource Center. A third valuable area of the Ready Rating program is the Resource Center. Here you will find an ever-growing set of checklists, templates, and other tools, all designed to help you improve your organization level of preparedness for disaster and other emergencies. In fact, Many of these resources are accessible right from the Next Steps report that is generated every time you take or update your assessment. While the information you obtain from the various Ready rating tools has enormous value, having a clear indication of progress is also important. This is why Ready Rating has created its star rating system. Members earn stars for taking positive actions, such as joining the program, completing either one of the assessments, customizing an emergency action plan, and demonstrating a commitment to ongoing improvement by updating your assessments as you complete the various recommendations contained in the Next Steps report. Remember, some of your stars will expire if you do not return to the assessments and update your assessment and improve your score. Do this at least annually, but it is easier if you track it on your assessments as each improvement to your preparedness is made. We have only touched some of the features of the Ready Rating website in this short video. Our recommendation is for you to spend some time exploring the different areas and the features on this site. Join the program, take an assessment, complete an EAP, and follow the recommendations of the Next Steps report. Take these actions and you will not only collect stars, but you help ensure the health and safety of your staff, customers, and community.
So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you have understood. And if you have any questions, I'm also going to share my screen. I have Alex's information, and I also have my information in the community preparedness teams, so that you can, maybe later on you might have a question. You can send us all your questions and we'll be able to answer them. And also, as I mentioned before, we will share all this information after today, so that you have access to these resources as well as the links. Um, all right, Alex, it seems like we still don't have any questions. Do you have anything to add up to that after the video?
No, I wanted to thank you for inviting Red Cross to participate in this. I hope that everybody can see the benefits of having this. It's a very simple process. So we hope that you can see the benefits of having something like this at least established or started within your own business. For safety and peace of mind, it's a great idea to have your employees feel safe and for you to feel that your employees are safe when they do come to work. So we hope that you enjoyed this presentation and it's helpful.
Thank you, Alex. And I have our information here. If you have any questions, again, you can reach out to me from the Community Engagement Specialist Bureau, and Alex Poku, Community Preparedness Program Lead at alex.poku@redcross.org, or preparednessgny@redcross.org, or NISOM Community Preparedness at oem.nyc.gov. And if anyone doesn't have any questions, and I think this is the end of our webinar. Again, be on the lookout for an email from me with all the resources and links. And yes, thank you very much for joining us today. And I hope you join us for upcoming webinars that we have. As I mentioned before, we have webinars throughout the week of September, because again, it's National Preparedness Month. Again, we have in-person events as well. If you sign up for our weekly newsletter, you'll be able to have access to all these presentations and webinars. So thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.